What's going on? What's happening? Um, I'm really excited for this one. So we have every team's wide receiver 1 through 3 um, in right now. So I don't even know if I know everybody's wide receiver 3. I'm not that deep into ball knowledge. I don't know if I know ball that much. Um, but fuck it, we'll try. Um, Yeah, shout out to whoever made this list, man. This is insane. Let's just get straight into it because we're gonna have to kill a lot of time. I'm sorry, dog. I don't know who you are. Who are you? Fuck. My bad. I'm gonna put you on uninspiring. You look like a cool dude though. So this is the Bills wideouts. Gabe Davis. I wouldn't call him a stud, dude. He's a starter. He's a pretty solid wide receiver too, but I think you'd like a lot of more wide receiver twos on different teams. He does have big play opportunity, but he's not. I don't think he's anything too crazy. Diggs, right outside this threshold over here, he could be offensive player of the year. I could see an argument, but I'm gonna have him at elite. Led the league in yards his first year with Buffalo, and he's been great ever since. Him and Josh Allen truly have a great connection. Um, so I'm gonna put him over at elite. We're gonna just move on. You know, a lot of these guys. We're not gonna spend every damn second just talking about certain guys. Tyreek Hill, fastest receiver in the game. Absolute beast. He's looking for 2K yards this season, so we'll see. If Tua stays healthy, probably will get it. Honestly, he had 1,800 last year, and Tua missed about 4 games or something. So, offensive player year is not out of question for Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle, I want to put him here so badly. And I think after this year, people will truly see he could be elite. But I'm gonna put him in Pro Bowl for now. He hasn't shown me too much that, I'm just like, oh, okay, this guy is up here with Stephon Diggs. They're the same tier. They're 1A, 1B. Nah, you'll never say 1A, 1B, but I think he could be Tyreek Hill, basically. Yeah, I love Jalen Waddle, so I would put him up here in the lead. But I think a more accurate assumption right now is just Pro Bowl, and let's move on. I think that's Cedric Wilson. He's okay. Juju, he's a starter. He's a little slow. Gets the job done. He was one of Mahomes' wide receivers last year. I wouldn't even call him wide receiver 1, but now he's in an offense with Mac Jones, and they're all pretty slow. Like, I don't know who to really love here. Devontae Parker, he's really up there in age, and I just don't think he has the ability to kind of go up there and get it anymore, so I'm going to put him in uninspiring. I think this is Tyquan Thornton. Tyquan Thornton, if this is him, he could be good, man. He's very fast. Probably the most electric part of that offense. But it's remained to be seen if he can actually kind of get that separation and really show off his burst. So uninspiring. Garrett Wilson. Heck no. Yep. We're gonna have him there. Fuck it, dude. This is our list. Who cares? Who cares what people say? Fuck them. Fuck them all. I'm gonna put Pro Bowl caliber because not all of them are gonna be Pro Bowls, but I believe they could be Pro Bowl caliber. Allen Lazard's a starter. He's okay. Just big guy, moves pretty well. That's about it. He doesn't get much separation, but he moves well in space. Corey Davis actually retired, so there's that. Rashad Bateman. I loved him coming out of Minnesota. I thought he was the fourth best receiver in the class, and I think he's probably 5 or 6 now that Amon-Ra kind of stepped up to the plate. So, nah, dude, let's just put him at starter. Don't get cute. Okay, Rashad Bateman. I think he's gonna be a solid wide receiver too. Um, we'll we'll see how his career pans out. Very fast, very good at the catch point, very good body control. Reminds me of like a little bit of a Stephon Diggs esque kind of player. Um, didn't want to say that with my full chest before I get shot, so I'll put that there. OBJ, love me some OBJ, but he's 31, 3 major injuries to his legs, and he's playing on a great offense now, so I guess we'll see. But they are stacked with everybody around them. But I think wide receiver one is going to be Zay Flowers. I think he'll carve himself a path. I absolutely loved watching him in the preseason. He looks like an absolute stud, and reports coming out of training camp are all so inspiring. I have no choice but to put him here instead. He's just he could be great at this level, and I feel like a lot of people are starting to think so. I wasn't too big of a believer just because of his size profile coming out of Boston College. I was hearing about this little like 5'9" receiver that was just kind of shredding defenses. But it's coming out of Boston College, but I don't know, it could be like an Antonio Brown-esque situation. So I'm excited to see what he can be. So it's kind of like a projection. I never really talked about Garrett Wilson. Offensive Rookie of the Year, as Aaron Rodgers now. He had like 1,200 yards last year. I think him and Jalen Waddle kind of just carved themselves into this elite path. I think Tua can support 2 top 15, top 20 receivers in this league. So shout out to them. And Jalen Waddle also has game-breaking speed, and Garrett Wilson kind of reminds me like of Diggs, Devontae Adams type. Great separator, great route runner, elite hands, great body control, just everything you'd want in a wide receiver. Jamar Chase, Offensive Player of the Year candidate. I think he is an absolute stud. He had a better second season than Justin Jefferson had, and Justin Jefferson had like an elite, like freaking year 2 season. So I think Jamar Chase could be right up there with JJ and Tyreek this year. As far as Offensive Player of the Year, if he stays healthy this year and the Bengals start, just catching fire again, I think they could be great. T. Higgins, Pro Bowl caliber. He's a stud. He shouldn't be. It's what's the word? You have like the riches. You have excess funds where you are able to have T. Higgins as your wide receiver too. Absolutely amazing drafting job by the Bengals. Look at them now. But T. Higgins 6'4", crazy body control, great speed, great at the catch point. He's elite, man. Not elite. It's so hard because you have to like kind of dice these guys into bits. So I'm just gonna put him Pro Bowl caliber. But I love me some T. Higgins, man. I think he's one of the best wideouts in the game. Well, clearly not. Fuck. I don't even know how to word this anymore. Tyler Boyd, he's a starter. A couple years ago, he was the wide receiver 1, catching like 1,000 yards out there before Higgins and before everybody got here. Shout out Tyler Boyd, man. You're a really good team when he's your wide receiver 3, so there's that. Amari Cooper, he's elite. I love his game. One of the great route runners of this league. Great hands, very physical, can get right through contact, and he has Deshaun Watson tied to him, who's supported top 5, top 10 wide receivers before. So if they can kind of get the ball rolling and everything picked up, look for Amari Cooper to have another great year. Elijah Moore's a stud. I loved him his rookie year. I thought he was great. Coming out of, Ole Miss, he got a lot of hype. They were like, oh, this is A.J. Brown's guy. A.J. Brown, he rides for this guy, this and that. He's a great separator. He's a great route runner. He's great in the slot. And we've seen it a little bit with the Jets. The Jets kind of gave up on him and traded him to the Browns. So I think Deshaun Watson can support both of these guys, and they could have really solid years this season. I think this is DPJ. I like DPJ. Great downfield threat. Deontay Johnson. Super great separator, great hands. Just kind of unfortunate he didn't catch a touchdown last season. But I don't think that'll be a trend. I think Deontay Johnson is clear in a way right now, the wide receiver one out in Pittsburgh. But it could change throughout the season. I could be wrong. George Pickens gets a lot of hype in the offseason. I get that. But people are kind of overlooking Deontay Johnson. He was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago, and I think he could just be a Pro Bowler again. And the Steelers' offense looks a lot better than they were last year. So shout out to him. George Pickens, I think he could be a stud. Should I put like rising star? I think I'll put rising star. Great big shining star. Yeah, I think he could kind of burst onto the scene. Everybody's seen the clips and stuff of him dogging in preseason, dogging in training camp, and this and that. And I'm not buying too much into it, but I believe, with his frame and his athleticism, just don't believe him too much of like a separator. Like, he's not a great separator. But it doesn't matter if he's mossing over everybody, but can he moss over everybody, So there's that. Allen Robinson, it's sad. He's very solid with the Jags, and had very good years with the Bears at the start. I'm going to put him starter for namesake. I think he's older, just lost a step. That might be it. I have Nico Collins here, rising star. I'm a big Nico Collins guy. Athletic freak, 6'4", 215, moves like butter, great at the catch point, and he's in a rising offense. The Texans' offense is only getting better, so I think he could carve out his position as a wide receiver one. I just kind of want to call my shot that Nico Collins is going to have maybe like a 1,000-yard receiving year, but that's to be seen. Robert Woods, he's a little slow nowadays, not really putting too much pep in his step, and I'll never forgive him for making me draft him when Matt Stafford came in over Cooper Kupp, so that's on him. John Mechie, I'm not too sure what John Mechie really is. I really didn't watch too much of him, so I'm going to put him here. I hope he's good, though. I've heard a lot of really good things. I didn't really watch too much of him, so I'm excited to see what he can be in this league and see if he can kind of step up for CJ Stroud, kind of have a 1-2 punch right here. Michael Pittman. Let's see, here's a guy that's shouldn't be called a rising star. He should be called a stud. Should I just... This is my list. Why am I so insecure? Let's do this. Like, who cares about what they think? Yeah, great. Like, underrated route runner. I think he's just been kind of caught up in shit offenses. 6'4", great hands. Moves pretty well for a 6'4" guy. And I think there's like a route win percentage stat. I seen it, but a year ago, it actually made me draft him in fantasy. It was telling all like his wins against like certain coverages, and he was like in the top 5% of pretty much every coverage. So I think he could be an elite wide receiver with the right quarterback. Will it be Anthony Richardson? I hope so. I think that'd be a pretty crazy dynamic duo. But if not, Marvin Harrison Jr. is just gonna go to the Colts anyway. Storybook kind of writing, and we'll see from there. But no, dude, I really like Michael Pittman. I think he's a stud. I'm gonna put him there. Alec Pierce is a great deep threat. I don't think he'll be much else in this league. I could be wrong. But he's just a great downfield threat. I don't really have much else on Alec Pierce, honestly. I think they could connect on a lot of balls this year. I have no clue who this is. I'm sorry. Christian Kirk. He's a stud. Was he a Pro Bowler last year? Let's see. He was not a Pro Bowler last year, but he had 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. Solid year, but also, if you think about it, the AFC stacked with wide receiver talent, so I can see how he didn't win it. He showed that he could step up and be a wide receiver one, that he was worth the money, and Yeah, wide receiver 2. He's one of the best wide receiver 2s out there, probably in the game. So, shout out to Christian Kirk for being so inspiring, man. He's a stud. Calvin Ridley. This is Calvin Ridley. This is the Calvin Ridley I remember from Atlanta. The way he's moving right now in preseason out there in Jacksonville is inspiring. And him tried to tied to Trevor Lawrence, the best quarterback he's ever had in his career. And yes, I know he was drafted with Matt Ryan and everything, but Matt Ryan was pretty much washed at that point. So Calvin Ridley is due for a big year, man. He's coming hot. He's 28, 29. He's an older receiver, but he spent some time away, and I think he just really hasn't lost a step. So shout out to Calvin Ridley, man. I'm really excited to see what he can do with Trevor Lawrence. I think they're going to have a great year, and I think Calvin Ridley is going to really show us why he was one of them ones back in Atlanta. Zay Jones, he stepped up pretty big last year. He's a starter. Nothing much to say about Zay Jones. He's just a great playmaker. I remember him vulturing a bunch of touchdowns, though. I remember that. I was kind of butthurt. I forgot who I had in fantasy one of those years. D-Hop. D-Hop last year was pretty good, man. I'm going to just put him at the end of Pro Bowl caliber. He's getting up there in age, and he's on Tennessee. But he's the only really option in Tennessee right now, so I think maybe that could get him statistics-wise. But regardless of that, D-Hop's, D-Hop, he's going to moss over everybody. I don't really know what else to say. He's not too fast. He's never been really fast. He's just been a pretty excellent route runner and really great hands. Probably the best hands in the league. So, shout out to D-Hop. Treylon Burks. I haven't seen much of Treylon Burks. I don't think anybody's seen much of Treylon Burks. He's kind of just been injured his whole rookie year, and then even in preseason he's injured. But he's supposed to be a playmaker. I'm going to put him in uninspiring right now. But he could boost up from this. I would just like to see more repetition from him. I don't know who this is. It might be Nick Westbrook-Akina. Jerry Jeudy, man. Love Jerry Jeudy. One of the best route runners in the game. I think he's just very low-key because he hasn't had his breakout season. And unfortunately, he's dealing with some bit of injury right now. But hey man, if he comes back and he's dogging on everybody, don't be surprised. I put you on game. Yeah. So shout out Jerry Jeudy. I think him just being an absolute route technician and being in an offense now where he can really shine with Russell Wilson now that Nathaniel Hackett's gone allows him to kind of rise up here and become maybe a Pro Bowl caliber player this year. Courtland Sutton's the starter. He's solid. Just kind of a jump ball guy. Nothing too crazy. The best season we've seen from him was like a couple years back where he had like 1,000 yards. But nothing much to say for Courtland Sutton. I think this is Marvin Mims because I think Tim Patrick looks a little different. I'm not too sure what to make of Marvin Mims. I'm sorry. I haven't watched too much Marvin Mims. Sorry about that. Kadarius Toney throughout his career has kind of been uninspiring. Like you see like what he can be athletically, but he's never really showed what he can do besides that one game against the Cowboys where he had like 189 yards. So I'm gonna put him down here and kind of just move on. MVS is uninspiring. Big play threat, and then Sky Moore I do like a little more than the other two. I think he could carve himself out a role this year. So I'm just gonna put him in starter. Devontae Adams. I think I just get misconstrued sometimes that this is a wide receiver list and not an offensive player of the year list. So, yeah, sorry about that. Devontae Adams, best route runner in the game. Let me order this correctly. Yeah, looks about right. Yeah, one of the best route runner in the game. Not too fast, just like D Hop, but gets open like no other. Has Jimmy G throwing to him, so look forward to a bunch of dump offs and dinks and short yard stuff. You won't really see too much of Devontae downfield this year, but shout out Devontae Adams, man. I still think he's one of them, and that's it. I think they have a really good wide receiver core. Honestly, Jacoby Myers is very solid, and Hunter Renfrow is very underrated. Keenan Allen, slide him at Pro Bowl caliber. Or Justin Herbert throwing the ball, anything's possible. So I think even if Keenan Allen's kind of watching himself, which I believe Keenan Allen's kind of washed as far as route running goes. I think short to intermediate, he's alright, but he doesn't really have that long range kind of burst that he did back in the day, and he's not really a guy I'm looking for to be a big downfield threat. But that's why they don't have him being the downfield threat. But even in the short to intermediate game, I think there's better route runners in the game now. So Keenan Allen, I kind of have him at Pro Bowl caliber, and I'm leaning towards just stud, but we'll have him there just out of namesake for respect. Mike Will, he's a stud, big jump ball guy, just gets hurt a lot. But we've seen him take over in the X spot and him absolutely have a great year. But I don't know if we'll ever see that again. He's 27, 28. Maybe his best years are behind him, so we can have him here. QJ, I think he's just taking over the wide receiver stuff soon. I'm not too sure if I believe him talent-wise, but as a pure volume standpoint, I think Justin Herbert's just going to slang that rock, and I think he's going to eat from it. I think one of these two guys are bound to just re-aggravate an injury throughout the year, so I think QJ is going to be here. Is he going to be here? Yeah, fine. I don't know. I'm not really too big of a QJ stan, so I just think it's an issue that he's 6'4". I get he moves well in space, but his jump ball is not as good as it should be. Like, why is that? Is he just weak at the catch point? And he has a lot of drop issues, even from college, so I don't know. CD Lamb, he's great, man. I'm just going to deal out these guys. CeeDee Lamb, a great elite wide receiver. He's one of the best route runners in the game, and he's tied to Dak Prescott, who's going to throw the ball a bunch of times a game. And he has some really underrated hands, man. CeeDee Lamb, I don't see him drop balls very often. He's a first down getter. He's a chain mover. And I think he's going to become a touchdown machine this season, so look forward to it. Seriously. So look forward to CeeDee Lamb kind of having a big year this year. And then Brandon Cooks with the Texans, with the Saints, with the Patriots, with the Rams. He's so underrated. I love Brandon Cooks, 1,000-yard receiver so many times throughout his career. Shout out Brandon Cooks. I see you, my boy. And Michael Gallup, he's solid. We've seen him be solid before, so he's a great starter. These are the Giants wide receivers. Who the fuck? Kenny Golladay has hair now? No way, right? Is Kenny Golladay still on the Giants? No, it's not Kenny Golladay. I don't know who the fuck this is, guys. I like Paris Campbell and Sterling Shepard, though. Hopefully they stay healthy this season, but I really like Paris Campbell and the Colts. Sterling Shepard has dealt with a lot of injuries, but I think he still could be a pretty good, solid starter this year, so shout out to them. A.J. Brown's an elite wide receiver. Devontae is Pro Bowl caliber, and Quez Watkins is very fast. So let's talk about the Eagles wide receivers. A.J. Brown, absolute beast after the catch. He'll run through, he'll juke around, he'll jump over, and he has some of the strongest hands in the league. He's an absolute physical wide receiver. He'll moss it over your DB, and he's tied to one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Devontae Smith is an absolute route technician. Some of the fastest feet in the game, and he's absolutely killer. I love him and T. Higgins. The only reason I have Jalen Waddle up here, why the fuck do I have Jalen Waddle up there? Like, What sets him apart? Maybe I'm just a glazer. Maybe I'm just a glazer. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm one of them ones that just glaze. Whatever. I'm gonna glaze. I just like Jalen Waddle's speed a little more. I think he has breakaway speed. So does Devontae Smith, though. So what's my argument here? I don't know what my argument is here. I'll come back to my argument here. Terry McLaurin, insane body control, insane hands, quarterback proof, just absolute monster all over the field. Jahan Dotson, I love me some Jahan Dotson. He's really stepped up to the plate since getting drafted by Penn State, I think it was. A lot of people were doubting that he should be a first-round selection, but he's been great. Curtis Samuel, uninspiring so far. He's kind of been a gadget player, but even at that, he hasn't really shown what he can be. Has dealt with a lot of injury, though, so I'll give him that, but nonetheless, uninspiring. I like DJ Moore a lot. I think he could be a trusty weapon for Justin Fields, and maybe this is the break they need. Justin Fields kind of getting a really good wide receiver and kind of just breaking out. So I guess that's mean to be seen. Stud, uninspiring. Chase Claypool hasn't really inspired me since his rookie year when he had like 10 touchdowns. I really enjoy DJ Moore. I think he's very underrated, and I think he could move up these ranks. Maybe not to elite just yet, or at all, but very solid overall. I think he's a pretty underrated wide receiver. Amon-Ra is gonna have a great year. He's my wide receiver 1 in fantasy. A lot of people have him leading the league in receptions, which I hope is true. I do take a little bit away when they just play in the slot, mentally, just because they're going over backers and they're not doing it against corners. But that's not to say that he's not a great wide receiver. I just think I find it a little bit more impressive when they're out playing the X and Y. So I have Amon-Ra as a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. I'm not going to have him here, though, per se. Maybe right around here. Oh. Sorry. This is what I meant. Putting some respect on his name right now, because I've been disrespecting him in the past. Hey, shout out my boy Matt. I'm gonna have him right at the end there. Is that true? I'll come back to it. Marvin Jones, I don't know what he does these days. Just haven't really heard too much about Marvin Jones in a while. Khalif Raymond, whatever. Christian Watson, rising star. Think he could be great in this league. He was great out in the North Dakota State, and a lot of people are making the argument that Trey Lance looked like an NFL-ready quarterback because Christian Watson was there. And I remember him catching a lot of passes from Trey Lance because I would watch Trey Lance highlights going into the 2021 draft, and Christian Watson kind of was just his guy. So love Christian Watson. I think Jordan Love and him. There's a lot of reports of them just being like just one click away from making a big play. So I think they're due for a very big year this year. Them two. Which one is Jaden Reed? A lot of camp hype for Romeo Doubs each season. Season prior and this season, Romeo Doubs has just been getting a lot of hype. So I'm not too sure. Even when he played the year, I didn't really see anything that stood out to me. And then Jaden Reed, I really didn't look too much into his prospect profile or nothing like that, or see what kind of receiver he is. So I'm just gonna put him right there. Can't say he's uninspiring, but he is starting, so we'll give him that. And then we have wide receiver 1, him. We know what Jay Jettas is. I don't need to talk all day about his game and what kind of player he is. We know what he is and what he'll do. He's on track to be one of the greatest receivers of all time. So we're just gonna say that and move on. So is Jamar, though. To be fair, Jordan Addison is a rising stud. Just giving him the benefit of the doubt because he's a rookie. I didn't really look into much of him at USC, but I heard he's a very solid player, and I think he could take over for a wide receiver 2 slot. But KJ Osborne is also solid himself, so I think he's going to have a tough time kind of competing over, just because KJ Osborne's been there and we've seen him kind of take over a wide receiver 2 role before. And he's done pretty well in that role. I think he caught for like 8 balls for like 181 yards one time. And it was pretty. Was it 181? No, I think it was less. But he caught like 8 balls and then he had like 2 touchdowns or some shit. I remember it because I had JJ. It was like fucking absurd. I was like, can JJ get some? Drake London, Falcons had one of the. Yeah, they had the top 5 lowest passing yards per game since the Super Bowl era. They're a top 5 bottom offense, just like the Chicago Bears. So 2 teams this past season had one of top 5 of all time as a yards per game standpoint. So I think they're only getting better. I think Drake London is an absolute star. There's a reason he got taken ahead of guys like Garrett Wilson and who was the other receiver out of that draft class? Sorry. Like Garrett Wilson and like Chris Olave. So I think he is on the come up still, but very well could be, there. I think this is Mac Hollins. He's huge. He's a huge anxious man, but I don't really know where to put him. And then Scotty Miller. It's whatever, dude. Like, it's Scotty Miller. Adam Thielen has lost a step, but he is the wide receiver 1 out there, so we're going to have him here. DJ Shark has been interesting when he has been in games, but he hasn't been in too much games, since being drafted. But can't help but love the 6'4" frame and speed, so there's that. And this might be Jonathan Mingo, because I don't think Terrace Marshall Jr. looks like this. So if this is Mingo, or even if it's Terrace Marshall, I think they could emerge as the wide receiver 1 later in the year, and I believe either of them, whoever that is, I like both of them. I like Terrace Marshall a little more, though. I'm just kind of a sucker for 6'4", just absolute monsters that can just kind of moss out the air and stuff like that, so gonna have them there. But Jonathan Mingo did show out in the preseason, and he's shown very solid, so either way I'm fine with putting them there. Christopher Olave. He's a damn good wide receiver. I think he could break out and kind of be in this elite threshold. I think these 3 guys up here could very well be in this elite threshold, but I'm just going to put them here for now and kind of just move on with my day because I don't want to spend all day contemplating it. But Chris Olave has some of the best hands I've seen from a rookie. He's keeping up with everybody athletically. He's just really good at everything. He's a great route runner, great separator, and he's taking the bulk of the team's target share, so I think he's going to have a Pro Bowl caliber year at the very least. Mike Thomas, just his namesake, man. He's a starter. I don't really know where to put him right now. Just a lot of injury kind of derailed his career, which sucks, but comes with the game. I'm not too sure who this is. This might be Rashid Shaheed. Mike Ev. He's one of the most underrated. I think he's in the same threshold as Keenan Allen. I do like Mike Ev a little more in his career right now than Keenan Allen, but I like Keenan Allen's offense a lot more. So I'm going to put Mike Ev here. The constant 1,000-yard receiver and touchdown monster. So I think I'm going to have him here. And then Chris Godwin. Still like Chris Godwin a lot. I think he could eat in this offense. People forget that he was an elite wide receiver at some point in his career. I think Mike Evans takes a step back, unfortunately, due to quarterback play. I don't think Baker Mayfield's like the worst, like everybody's making him out to be. But I think Chris Godwin's more likely to be inclined to succeed in this offense with Baker throwing rather than Mike Evans. So I'm going to put them there. That's just showing the difference in wide receiver, like diversity and their abilities. So I have Chris Godwin just ahead of Mike Evans. Russell Gage, whatever. Marquise Brown. He's a stud. I do enjoy his game. Very fast. I think it just sucks that we won't see him with Kyler for a while. But when Kyler comes back, I do think he's bound to have a great year. One of the fastest receivers in the game, great hands. Very underrated wide receiver. I think he spent some pretty quality time under Lamar Jackson. Just barring some injuries, they had a pretty good connection. And then Rondell Moore hasn't been anything but a starter, really. And then I'm not even sure who this guy is. This might be his name is at the top of my head, but it's not coming out, so it doesn't really matter. Coop. I have Coop right here. We know what he is when he's healthy. He's a fucking dog, dude. He's every time my 49ers play him, or any team plays him, I'm just like, bro, find number 10. Like, it's not that hard. He's the fucking whitest guy out there. Like, just look for him out on the field. Double him. Put whoever. Just make sure you have a body on him. Don't lose track of him, man. He just finds ways through the gaps. He's a slot guy, just like Amon-Ra. I think I give him a little bit more credit than Amon-Ra, though, so that's kind of got me back into the Amon-Ra aspect of things, because if I'm so high on Cooper Kupp, why am I high on Amon-Ra? He had one of the greatest, if not the greatest, wide receiver season we just seen the year prior. Triple Crown, all that good stuff, Super Bowl champ. So shout out to him. I think he won Super Bowl MVP too. I could be wrong, but he's just one of them. No way of putting it any differently. Fuck, this looks like Allen Robinson too, low key. But I know it's not. This is Van Jefferson. He's alright. And then Ben Skron, like, whatever. My boys. Okay. So Debo, I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I think he's going to be on the lower end of Pro Bowl caliber. I think Brock Purdy's going to slang the ball a lot. And I think Debo's going to eat a lot. Because, a lot of dump offs and yak. So I think Debo, if he stays healthy, is bound for another great year. And I love BA1K a lot. I would kill to have him as a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. I think he has that potential. But I don't think he's going to get there. I think the offense is very limited. And I think they'll be more inclined to use guys like Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey before they go ahead and look at Brandon Ayuk. So I'm going to have him there. Jauan Jennings, he catches like 40 balls a year, but they're all like first downs and touchdowns. And they're like big plays. So I want to put him in starter just because I know him so well. But Jauan Jennings is probably uninspiring to most. DK is probably the best wide receiver core in the game, man. DK is elite. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, unfortunately. Big, physical. He's become a better separator since his rookie year. But talent's there nonetheless. And you can't help but love you some DK running over everybody. And then Tyler Lockett, complete opposite, agile receiver, 5'10", avoids contact at all costs, slides to the floor. But they're very very good complement to each other. I absolutely love the tandem, even though I'm a Niners fan. Love that for Seattle. It must be a very happy day seeing those two out on the field, and then drafting Jackson Smith and Jigba, the best wide receiver to come out of this class. And he's dealing with some injury right now, but there's no doubt in my mind he'll be up there with them soon enough. But yeah, those are my wide receivers list. So let me just make sure everything's in order. Okay, I think this is fine for me. So I have like 7 of them being at the top, and then the rest trickle down. But if we had to get a 10 going, I'd probably have it Garrett Wilson 10, Terry McLaurin 9, CeeDee Lamb 8, AJ Brown 7, Stephon Diggs 6, Cooper Kupp 5, Jamar Chase 4, Tyreek Hill 3, Devontae Adams 2, and JJ at 1. I think that's a pretty solid list from my being. This is me just giving every fiber of my brain to this list. Um, but yeah, I think that's kind of how it's gonna round out. You can let me know which receivers you think I was a little too low on, a little too high on. But regardless, I hope you guys kind of had fun trying to figure this out with me. That's just kind of how I would rank them. Let me know if you have them any different. And regardless, I hope you guys have a great day and good rest of your night whenever you're watching this and wherever you're watching this. Peace out.